For someone who's British, born here, with family here, it's very difficult because, for instance, if I wanted to fake my death and I, say, went to Spain, I'd likely to bump into a friend of mine one day and he mentioned he went to my funeral and I just hoped the beer flowed. But if I came from, say, from an immigrant family, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Nigeria, Ghana, I have family abroad. I could go and, say, fake my death in Delhi and then live with family members in Mumbai, sort of thousands of miles away. So that's easier there. And then you go along, get a doctor to give you a certificate. You either pay the doctor or convince him that someone died and he gives you a certificate. You register the death and then put an insurance claim in.
Mm-hmm.
So what kind of strategies have people tried? Because you've caught many people who've tried to sort of pull the wool over people's eyes.
Well, disappearing at sea, I mean, they obviously the canoe man, but disappearing at sea was popular at one stage. I think just before the canoe man, a year or so before that, I had 3 people who disappeared at sea, and surveillance of the partner, the wife, who was also the claimant, revealed the whereabouts of all 3 people, and they all ended up in prison. So
yeah. Now, when you say claimant there as well, I mean, obviously insurance payouts are a big part of all of this. But Rosie and I were talking earlier as to people's motivation. Why basically do people want to disappear? It can't always be about money, or is it?
Mostly it's about money. People are in debt. Fear of losing their house, and maybe there's an endowment policy covering the mortgage. I've known people fake their death when they were due to appear in court. And the famous case of Pike, who was due in court for money laundering in Kent, and his wife went to the court with his Kenyan death certificate, and the case was dropped. He'd have got away with that had he not been stupid enough to take out 4 large policies 2 months beforehand. And the death certificate was, I knew it to be, it was fake. And criminals, there are criminals who set it up to steal money.
Now, look, okay, that's the general tactics of it all. What about the specifics? There is a Greek dentist who you particularly want to tell us about who faked his own death. How hard was he to find? Tell us about him.
Well, it's not a question of finding people, because often I go abroad, I go to the police, look at the police report, the doctor's report, the registration, the cemetery, and show that the documents are fake. Finding people is not easy, but in his case, he was a dentist in a large practice in Barnstaple, and he was of Greek origin, allegedly, and he died in a road traffic accident, allegedly, in Amman, in Jordan. And his wife put the claim in, and she was backed up by a banking representative who had been quite close to Mr. Parissis with his finances. And it was Sophie, so I interviewed her, and the banking rep was there, and the wife, the wife was Stiliani. She cried and was very upset. And later I got a phone call from the bank rep who said, well, Mr. Saunders, you don't understand real grief. I said, right. And said, I phoned the Greek embassy, and they said the death certificate from Greece is genuine. I said, well, I know it is, because basically, had they taken the documents from Jordan to Greece, they'd accept them. But the answer lies not in Greece, but lied in Jordan. And she said, not only that, she said, I rang the Greek embassy in Amman, and they know about his death. He is dead. So you waste your time investigating this. You don't understand what you're doing, pay up. So I said to the bank, please get off my back. So I went to Greece, and yes, all the documents were genuine, but I went further into the registry and found that when he married, his name was something like Sarifis, which actually is a Jordanian name. Of course, he is Jordanian. So where did the name Parissis come from? And it showed his father's name, and out of all the documents now, his father had 3 different names, which is interesting. So I then went to Jordan, and the documents were all fake. There were no officials involved in Jordan. This man was a master forger. What I missed out is he actually left the job in Barnstaple and was starting a new one in Bristol.